into my faces. I try to make funny faces so that it gets caught in the freeze frame. Oh my goodness, is my phone on? Oh, my sound's on. That's not cute. Hold on. Hi guys, how are you? I'm gonna check this out and make sure. For some reason, Facebook hasn't been showing me comments in my groups when I live, so I don't know if that has to do with this. What up, guys? Let me know if you're on, if you can hear me okay. I definitely have been thinking about this topic. Hey, Justin, what's up? I've been thinking about this topic for quite a while, and it's something that I thoroughly love. And it's just, I think I'm probably going to write a million things about it and talk about it a million times. So just be prepared. Self-awareness. So a few years ago, I don't even know if it was 2 or 3 years ago, maybe almost 4 years ago. I don't know. But I was attending the book launch for Gary V's Ask Gary V book was here in St. Louis. I know some of you guys whose names I saw pop up were there, I think. So I was there. It was at First Form headquarters here in St. Louis, and I was sitting there listening to him speak, and he said something about if there's one gift I could give to everybody, like everyone everywhere, it would be self-awareness. And I remember thinking, oh, that's awesome. And then I was like, but what the fuck does that even mean, right? Like self-awareness. If that's one gift you can give to everybody, well, it would be self-awareness. And I'm thinking, but what does that even mean? Like, be real. Like at that time, again, like I said, it was like 3 or 4 years ago, I wasn't even really sure what that meant. But I wanted to figure it out. So the light is just reflecting off this necklace, isn't it? Anyway, so I wanted to figure out. So I remember going home and Googling it and asking a bunch of questions and just kind of trying to figure out what the fuck that meant. And in the process, I, found some information, but it was never clear. And it's something that, I have since created for myself, and that I've realized it's one of those things that there is no, cookie cutter definition or way to create self-awareness for yourself. And there's no flip you switch and you're just self-aware. It's something that you have to work at for a long time. But it's something that I believe is undervalued. And what I mean by that is that a lot of people don't realize how important it is. It's something that I talk a lot about with my private clients in coaching. And it's funny because they don't necessarily see that coming, I don't think, when they first come into my world. But it is one of the most important things that you can do. That's how you make change. It's how you create change in your life, is by becoming self-aware and starting to pay attention to not only your reactions, but your emotions and what you think and what you feel and what you see and what you observe, and how things have happened in the past and the parts that you've played in it, and how you can change your current situation or your futuristic result based upon making a different choice. Those types of things, those are the things that allow you to change your life basically and change the reality that you're currently living in. So one of the biggest things that I talk about a lot and that I do myself every single day and have for years is pay attention. You need to pay attention in those moments, and it's hard and it's exhausting. So nobody actually wants to do it. I don't know if anybody that's watching right now even understands what I'm saying, or if you agree. If you do, give me some thumbs up. Let me know if you're understanding what I'm saying. If you have any questions, pop them in. I know I haven't been live in a while, so some of y'all maybe not remember that I don't get mad if you ask questions while I'm talking. I'm down for that. Keep the questions coming. But the biggest thing for me is it's one of the biggest things, nobody's willing to do that work of looking your shit in the face, right? It's not pretty all the time. It's not always super exciting or super pleasant to look yourself in the mirror and say, okay, this is why this happened, or this is why this didn't happen, or here's how I want this other thing to happen, so I have to make a choice, or I have to do something differently, because people don't want to take responsibility for their own actions. All right, cool, guys, thank you. Responsibility for what's going on, or responsibility for how they can shift and alter their current situation based upon their own reactions to their own their own way of handling it. But most people don't want to talk about that. They don't want to look that in the face, and they certainly don't want to do the work, because here's what happens when that become something that you're building and something that you're actively creating for yourself, you're literally in those moments thinking about what you would have said in the past, what's going to serve you to say now, what you really want to say, but are you really going to say it? Like, and how can you word it in a way that's going to be constructive? Like, all of that happens in like a 15-second process, right? But it's literally one of the most powerful tools that you can create for yourself. It's one of the most powerful things that you can start to make a habit in what it is that you're doing. And here's the reason why most people don't actually follow through with doing it for long term. Is like, for example, I had a client the other day say, she's like, I'm so mentally exhausted. Like, I'm so tired. I'm drained. And I'm like, you have to understand energetically how this is draining. Like, this work can be exhausting, because it definitely is one of those things. Like, literally within a 15 to 30 second window, your mind is playing through so many different choices and so many different things in that quickness, like, where you're able to decide how you're going to take that path and how you're going to, handle that specific situation based upon what you want, what you used to do, who the person is, what you're trying to accomplish, like all of these different things. And your mind is thinking of all those things in such a brief, quick little window that it can be exhausting, especially when you're not used to doing it. So most people won't keep doing it because it's hard and it's tiring, and they're like, this is fucking crazy. And let's be real, like, the consistency level on most things is pretty poor, let alone something that's difficult, right? But it literally is one of the most empowering, mind-bending, life-changing things I've ever decided to put time and effort into, honestly. And it's something that has allowed me to literally drastically alter my reality in so many ways that I have to agree with Gary Vee at this point. Like, I heard him say that on that stage years ago, and it was one of the smartest things I've ever heard, honestly, because it's the truth. If people could be more self-aware, the world would be in a very different place. And most people would be a lot happier. And they'd have a lot more of what it is that they want in their lives. John, what about when you're self-aware but don't like what you see, but you realize that that is who you are? You may know my story. I'm not sure what you're talking about, but I don't know that I don't need to necessarily know the details. The fact of the matter is like, if something is who you are, like, if that's part of who you are, like, but you don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you don't like what you see, I don't know if you're talking about physically. I don't know if you're talking about like something that you can't change. Like, that's the thing. I know that there's a lot of things about myself in the past and the ways that I would handle situations and the ways that I would come at a situation or handle, a lot of different things in my life that at the time was serving me, and at the time was all I knew was the answer. And but I look back now and I don't like that. Like, I don't like the way I acted in those situations. I don't like that was a part of who I was, but it was a part of who I was. And so I made the decision, like, I don't like that. I don't like what I saw. I don't like how I acted or what I reacted or what I created based upon those things. And I wasn't aware in the moments of what I was creating. So I changed it. I did what I needed to do to change my current reality, to change the things that were that I didn't like about myself or the situation or whatever. So I don't know, John, specifically, like, I believe everything's a choice on how we deal with our circumstances, how we deal with all of those things. Because, like, not everything's within my control, right? Like, I mean, I've been in some really fucked up situations in my life. A lot of you know my story. Like, those things were beyond my control. Those were things I did not like, but those were not things that I could personally change. But I could change who I was in that situation. I could change how I dealt with it and what I allowed it to do to me, and if I allowed it to define me or not. Like, I could choose that. So you have to look at them from different things from different perspectives. So I'm not sure if that answers your question, but like, that's basically, I was talking to somebody the other day, and it's like, listen, a lot of the things that have happened to you in your life or things that you may or may not like, they're never going to go away. Like, meaning it happened. Like, it's a part of your story. It's a part of what makes you who you are. But you get to decide to deal with those things. Like, look at it, dissect it, decide what you learned from it, decide, what you're going to take away from that, and then allow it to be a part of exactly what makes you up. You don't have to allow it to be something that defines you, right? Like, I have a lot of things that I've been through that I speak on and that I'm able to allow to pull lessons from and help people and stuff like that. And yes, they happened to me. I'm never going to say that they didn't or they weren't, my current circumstances at that time, but they also don't define who I am at this point. They're just a part of what makes me who I am. They're a part of my story. So I'm a big believer in shifting your perspective when it comes to things like that and being able to flip it. So again, I don't know if that helps, John, and if it's not something you want to say, here, it kind of sounded like it might have been super personal. So if you want to send me a message, you can, but that's definitely my take on that, specifically, because I feel like a lot of times we feel like we're stuck because of X, Y, and Z, right? Or we're stuck because this was our reality and we don't like it and we did something we're not proud of or whatever. But I'm a firm believer in the fact that you can change those things and you can change the way that you decide to show up and the way that you decide to handle something moving forward. That's one of the biggest keys that most people don't realize, especially when it comes to even self-awareness, is like, you get to choose how you show up every day. You get to choose how you react to every situation. You get to choose how you interact with each person. You get to choose what you say and what you do and how you show up. You can't control them. You can control other people's reactions. You can't control what they think, what they feel, what they do, but you can control what you do. And that's all you really can control. So when you're able to flip-flop that and you're able to realize, like, I get to decide how I show up every day. I get to decide if I interact, right? Like, just because someone else shows up into your space with whatever it is that they show up with, that doesn't mean you have to interact. Like, where's that meme where it's like, you don't have to attend every argument you're invited to, right? Like, that's a big thing, but a lot of people's pride gets in the way. A lot of people let their emotions get in the way because they're not in control. They're not self-aware. They're not thinking about the big picture, the end result, what they're trying to create, right? Like, and that's the thing. When you start thinking about your self-awareness and you start realizing in those moments what you can shift perspective-wise, responses, reactions, things like that, in order to really truly control what's going to come out of that for you, like, that's some true power, right? And when you do that, you're able to start to be proactive and you start to look at the predictable result. Like, that's what I do in my life. Like, there's a lot of times people are like, how do you make yourself do all these things? Or how do you find the time and energy to do all these things? It's not that I want to do them all the time. Honestly, I'd rather sit on my ass a lot of times. Like, I like to create and I like to do my job like I do, but like, real talk, I really thoroughly enjoy watching TV. I really thoroughly enjoy sitting around playing with my dogs and doing nothing. I like that. But what do I need to do to get to where I want to go? Like, for example, right now, I do not want to meal prep. I need to meal prep. I ate my meals for today. I don't have meals for tomorrow. I know that in order for me to operate at my maximum capacity and my best interest, my best level of Jamie, I need meals for tomorrow. So what am I going to do when I get off this? I'm going to go make some freaking meals. Because predictable results, self-awareness, I know what I will do tomorrow. I can sit here and say, oh yeah, I can go buy Fit Flavors and I can pick up meals, or I can go buy Deerbergs and I can get what I need. It'll be fine. But I'm not going to do that. I have a full day of shit tomorrow. And like, I'm not going to do that because I know that that's horseshit and that's just an excuse that I'm making right now. So instead, what am I going to do? I'm going to make the food that I need. I'm going to do what I need to do to get a predictable result. That's self-awareness. It's knowing that the excuses are there and there's no point to make them because it's never going to get you what you want. So you push that shit aside and do what you know you need to do. So anyway, again, John, if you're still live, please shoot me a message if you want to talk a little bit more about that because I wasn't really sure exactly what you were talking about. But thank you for the question. I think it led us down a good little path. But again, this is a big topic, and I feel like it's something that's really robust and that I could talk about all the time when it comes to that. And it's just one of those things, though, that takes daily practice, and it becomes stronger as you move forward. It becomes something that you spend, that becomes, it's almost like flexing a muscle, right? The more you use it, the more you're able to create it. So if you guys ever have any questions about how to strengthen your self-awareness, how to make it more of a thing that's present for you, how you allow that to flip your life, hey Katie, ask me. I'd love to hear what you want to know about it specifically. Also, like, not only will I give you a specific answer or like a personalized answer, but I'll also be able to use that to help other people too, because a lot of times we all have questions and people are scared to ask them, and one person will ask a question and like 7 other people were thinking the same thing. So keep that in mind. This is a big topic. Like I said, it's going to be coming out a lot. And the live streams are back in action, ladies and gentlemen. So stay freaking tuned. And I will talk to y'all later. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up and share this if you think this message is something that anybody else can benefit from. I appreciate all of you so much. Go enjoy the rest of your night. And I'll talk to you later. Bye.